By 2025, the trade war between the United States and China has become a major factor, influencing the global economy. In this video, we'll explore how this trade war started, what its current consequences are, and what we might expect in the future. How did this conflict begin, and where might it lead in the coming years? Let's dive into it. The trade war between the United States and China traces back to 2018, when tensions began to rise under the leadership of Donald Trump. Concerns over China's trade practices, intellectual property violations, and America's growing trade deficit led to heightened conflict. However, by 2025, this war has evolved into a much deeper and broader global economic issue. This trade rivalry between two superpowers is not just about bilateral trade. It's about reshaping the global economy. By 2025, the trade war between the United States and China has taken on a more complex form. Since the early 2020s, mutual tariffs and trade barriers have become even more intricate. On one side, the US views China's rapid economic and technological rise as a serious threat, while China pushes back with its own strategies. The US is targeting China's growing dominance in the tech sector, while China seeks to diversify its trade partners and reduce its dependency on the US. This shift in strategy has significant implications for the global supply chain and the broader economic landscape. The United States is particularly concerned about China's rapid growth in sectors like artificial intelligence, 5G, biotechnology, and semiconductors. America sees China's technological rise as a direct threat to its own economic and geopolitical interests. In response, the US has not only increased tariffs, but has also imposed various restrictions on Chinese companies, aiming to disrupt China's digital infrastructure and prevent it from gaining an upper hand in global markets. These measures include stricter regulations on Chinese tech giants, such as Huawei and TikTok, and attempts to block Chinese companies from accessing advanced technologies. America's approach is designed to limit China's global influence and technological advancements. In reaction to America's pressure, China has developed several counter-strategies. China responded to the tariffs by imposing its own retaliatory tariffs and targeting American companies within its borders. Additionally, China has focused on strengthening its trade relationships with countries outside of the US sphere. The Belt and Road Initiative is one of the key components of China's strategy, aiming to build new economic ties across Asia, Africa, and Europe. This initiative is not only a way for China to increase its global influence but also to bypass some of the trade barriers imposed by the US. In doing so, China is redefining the dynamics of global trade and attempting to reduce the impact of US policies on it. By 2025, the ongoing trade war has caused significant disruptions to global supply chains. China's manufacturing dominance, which once made it the world's factory, is now under threat. As a result of the tariffs and trade restrictions, many companies have started shifting their production lines away from China, looking to countries like Vietnam, India, and other Southeast Asian nations for alternatives. This shift is reshaping global trade patterns and supply chains, creating new opportunities in emerging markets while weakening China's position as the world's manufacturing hub. At the same time, investment flows have been affected by the trade war, imposing economic sanctions and restrictions on each other. Investors are becoming more cautious. Chinese investments in the US have decreased, and vice versa. However, China's efforts to build stronger trade relations with other countries may provide new opportunities for investment, especially in developing markets. This shifting investment landscape could lead to a more fragmented global economy, where regional dynamics become more important than ever before. The most obvious consequence of the ongoing trade war is the decline in global economic integration. As countries seek to reduce their dependency on the US and China, new economic alliances and regional trade agreements are emerging. The global supply chain is undergoing a fundamental transformation, and companies are diversifying their production locations to reduce risks. Additionally, developing countries are seeking to assert more economic independence in light of the conflict between the two superpowers. However, if the trade war continues for a prolonged period, we may see slower global economic growth and increased uncertainty, particularly in advanced economies. Looking ahead, several possibilities could shape the future of the trade war. The ongoing rivalry between the US and China could evolve into a full-blown technology war, where both sides attempt to dominate industries like artificial intelligence, digital currencies, and advanced manufacturing. Furthermore, new trade alliances and regional partnerships might emerge, altering the global economic order and reducing the influence of the US and China in some regions. The trade war between the US and China is not just about two countries. It's a global issue that affects economies worldwide. By 2025, as the trade war continues, its impact on global trade, investment, and technology will be profound. The future remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the outcome of this trade war will shape the global economy for years to come.